Alright, y'all. So this video just talks a little bit about YoungBoy. I don't know if in here is facts or not. I'm watching it for my entertainment and just react to it. That's all I'm here for. So yeah, the original video will be tagged down below. Let's see what they're talking about. My name is Carlos. Welcome to the channel. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for me if you can. All right, let's do it.
What would you do if you made hundreds of millions of dollars for a record label but never saw a dime? You see, NBA YoungBoy has been one of the most lit and authentic street rappers of today's generation, with even some of his counterpart artists compared.
NBA YoungBoy really the Michael Jackson of the generation. Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know, like how they like compare artists to other artists. I don't know how I feel about
Jackson of the modern day.
Yeah.
YoungBoy has made his label hundreds of millions of dollars, seeing little to no return.
YoungBoy drops a lot of music. So I don't know if any of this is true, but he does make a lot of music.
Who's record label who was committing this daytime robbery against a 17-year-old NBA YoungBoy? Well, you guessed it, and it's Atlantic Records. In 2022, NBA YoungBoy made a statement expressing that he felt he was being blackballed while on a slave deal with Atlantic. What were the terms of expressing that he felt? You guessed it, and it's Atlantic Records. In 2022, NBA YoungBoy made a statement expressing that he felt he was being.
Why blackball me? I'm the good guy. I was going #1 2 weeks straight with a mixtape, so they took it down off the charts. I don't give a. You still can't stop me. Don't sign to Atlantic if you a artist. They not gonna support you, especially if you live a certain way.
Blackballed while on a slave deal with Atlantic. What were the terms of this record label contract? You see, in August of 2017, NBA YoungBoy signed a 5-album, 5-year deal with Atlantic Records for $2 million advance, which would be the money that he would have to pay back or his label would have to recoup before he made a cent. Now, this would be one of the greatest return on investments by Atlantic Records, as YoungBoy easily turned up $100 million. Now, YoungBoy released AI YoungBoy with banger songs like Untouchable, as well as Graffiti, my favorite song, and the following year he released banger albums in 2018, Until Death Call My Name, Realer, For What's Important, For Respect, For Freedom, Decided, Master Day of Judgment, and 2018 for the most part was full of just classic songs, which pretty much crowned YoungBoy as the king of YouTube and had the youth in a chokehold. And now in a conversation with DJ Academics, YoungBoy explained how although he was the undisputed king of YouTube with the most views by any rapper, he still made no money. I never got paid for YouTube a day in my life. Ninjas make all the money off my YouTube, then they give me a small percentage of my shit. All that shit slavery or something. But this the ish that we signed up for in this business. Now, if you ask me, this is completely unethical, but this is how the music business works. Because for a lot of rappers who sign to labels, a lot of them don't become as successful as YoungBoy. And they have the saying that for every 10 rappers that label signs, the one that becomes very successful, they milk all that money to recoup for the 9 other people that they never made the money back on. But what often gets glossed over in this situation is a crime that occurred before YoungBoy even signed his deal with Atlantic, as him pretty much signed his deal with Atlantic Records being his meal ticket out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, leaving the streets, where he was facing up to 10 years for an attempted murder. Now, YoungBoy, like many rappers, signed a contract without fully understanding the legality and the legalese of how, the paperwork and the music business work. And didn't understand that Atlantic would pretty much own his masters, which are the rights to his music in perpetuity, which is forever.
Bro, the way the music, I don't know. The music industry is a crazy world. I don't know much about the music industry, but to me, it just seems like a shady business industry to get into. Yeah, you get rich, you get this money, but seeing the things that he said, it just seems like you get robbed for your shit. I don't know.
Before signing Atlantic Records, NBA YoungBoy Conchel Golden was involved in a serious legal case stemming from an alleged drive-by shooting in Baton Rouge in November 2016. Now, YoungBoy is accused of firing a gun multiple times during the incident, where he allegedly left the passenger shot in the neck. Now, the shooting involved multiple individuals, and YoungBoy was allegedly one of the passengers in the car. Now, the shooting was a retaliation for the death of Boozilla, which is YoungBoy's cousin who was killed before, and this shooting was the get back that they were looking for, and they really slid. Just a few weeks after the incident, YoungBoy was arrested on November 28, 2016, just before a scheduled performance in Austin, Texas, and the U.S. Marshals took him into custody, and he was extradited back to Louisiana, where he faced 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder and was held on a $200,000 bond. At just 17 years old, YoungBoy was eligible to be tried as an adult under Louisiana law. These charges carry the possibility of life imprisonment without parole if convicted. As soon as YoungBoy got released in May of 2017, it was quickly followed up by his hit single Untouchable, which talked about his experience in jail and really marked his rapper return to music after he signed his deal with Atlantic Records. Fast forward to 5 years later in 2022, YoungBoy released his Colors mixtape, which had crazy diss about King Von, the whole industry, and he was complaining that his label was taking his music off Apple Music, which is negatively impacting his charting data. Now, we all know for rappers, first week sales is one of the most important metrics, and with YoungBoy's label taking his music off because they didn't want it to be there for whatever reason, he felt that he was being sabotaged and they were silencing his music because he was quote-unquote going at the other side, aka Lil Durk. Now, when it comes to Atlantic, many rappers have had issues with Atlantic Records, such as Lil Uzi Vert, as well as Meek Mill, for not promoting their projects, and YoungBoy kind of felt like he was in the same boat. Now, YoungBoy posted his YouTube community post, "I was going #1 2 weeks straight with the mixtape, so they took it down off the charts. I don't give a F, you can't stop me. Don't sign to Atlantic Records if you're an artist. They're not going to support you if you live a certain way." And with that certain way being, it means you're a street rapper, you don't give an F, and you just have a certain bravado and want to speak your truth about certain situations that you may be getting silenced on. DJ Academics would put on the Breakfast Club and perfectly break down how NBA YoungBoy, despite dropping 20 plus projects to fill his album requirements for his contract, and how he was still a slave.
I get on the phone with these executives. I had to, you know how many people I talked to when I had to figure out what's going on at Atlantic? Why is Meek Mill not signed there no more? Why is Kodak Black about to be a free agent? Why did PNB Rock get dropped? PNB Rock was not originally on Empire. Everybody wants to just say, oh, Empire's getting art. No, he's an Atlantic artist.
NBA YoungBoy.
NBA YoungBoy. Why did they tell that young man, and I'm getting from the source like the guys. I'm talking to even sometimes their lawyers. Why did Atlantic basically tell YoungBoy, listen, after 22 albums that you dropped in a time period where we only contracted you to do 5, hey, we'll negotiate and give you this amount of money, but we ain't giving you a motherfucking part of your masters back. These are real things. What does that mean?
Bro, that is so cold. Them record labels, to me, after like watching this and seeing this, I just feel like, you know, everything in this world is about money, but they just be doing people dirty as hell. From what I see, I don't know. Shit, that's wild.
When YoungBoy started, he's 17, he's 22 now. You don't understand what the fuck going on. He's just putting out music. It took a team to be around him. Now he just started, and that's why he loves Birdman so much. Even though, you know, you can say whatever about Birdman. Birdman helped him understand, and his team as well. Bro, you know you just satisfy, theoretically you satisfy your contract 4 times. They're eating crazy off of you. Look how much they own your YouTube money. They own this. These are things that to a 7.
Bro, I feel like YoungBoy, if he said it, I don't know, in my opinion, I feel like if YoungBoy would have just stayed independent from the jump and just kept dropping his music on YouTube, you know, just all the platforms, putting his music videos out. But of course, they help with the money a lot. But I know YoungBoy and his team probably could have got creative enough to do this on their own and own all that money from the YouTube and all of that, you know, the masters, everything. Me personally, I don't know a lot about any of this music industry thing, but from my eyes and my perspective, the way that YoungBoy makes his music, it's fire. He has good music, and signing to them record labels. That's why I feel like some of these artists stay independent out here. I believe Young Dolph was one of them. He was an independent artist, and like that, you know, I believe that you get to, you know, you have the rights to your masters. You get to, you know, keep the money you're making off of your music. But these record labels, then, you know, they offer these artists, I believe, like a certain amount of money, a lump sum, and then keep the rest of the money that they're making off of the music. It's a cold game. That music industry is shiesty, dirty.
17-year-old coming in the game that was like, when he got in the games, NBA YoungBoy was an artist who got a suspended 10-year sentence for being in the drive-by. He not thinking about, well, this is what a music contract looks like. This is how I should do it. No, he's just, yo, fuck it, I'm in here.
Happy's getting money.
So now
his family.
he signs to a label, and the label is seeing 10 times what they even bargained from him. Forget the negotiation power. He doesn't even know what it means. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to music education. Like we should. I remember for the longest I was confused about the difference between masters and publishing. You get me? Okay, how do you get paid from Spotify? I break all these shit down.
In another Instagram post following the incident, YoungBoy released a post saying, "I said they can have the next 4 albums for free. All I want is my masters, and they still told me no. It's a dirty game." And YoungBoy was waiting to release his last album, The Last Limito, of his contract, where you would essentially become a free agent, where you could go independent or renegotiate a new contract agreement, with heavy leverage. Academics would confirm that Atlantic Records would actually offer NBA YoungBoy $25 million for a new deal, to which he strongly declined because he wanted ownership of his music, aka his masters, more than anything. Now, this would be the same time that YoungBoy would pretty much lash out on YouTube and streamers, tell them to get a real job because they were making hundreds of thousands of dollars off reacting to his music. However, he was barely making anything because the label was pocketing everything.
Wow, bro.
Nothing out of it.
That's why I never even knew that. That's why I hear in like there's certain songs I heard by YoungBoy and he's talking shit about streamers and YouTubers because they're reacting to his music and they're making bread off of that shit, and YoungBoy wasn't making a dime. Now that shit makes sense to me. Damn.
The loss of ownership that YoungBoy experienced forced him to never do business with Atlantic Records ever again, as they gave him a slave deal, as he called it. Now, later that year, after he released Last Limito, he signed with Motown Records for $60 million, which was 30 times the amount of the original deal, 4 or 5 years with Atlantic.
Wow.
With the Make America Slime Again tour coming up next, YoungBoy being the king of YouTube for years, and on the road to being a $100 million ninja, if he isn't already, what do you think is next for NBA YoungBoy? And do you think that the record label Atlantic Records actually did YoungBoy bad, or did he truly not understand the business practice and the business model of these record labels, and he just got which a lot of artists do if they become extremely successful? Thank you for watching. Let me know down below, and let me know what you talk about next. Jared.
That was a fire video. Shout out, what is it, Junior Dash Star. I'll tag his video down below. Check his channel out. You know, go like his videos, go comment his videos, and also do the same for mine. I react to videos here, you know. Sometimes I get people talking shit to me about it, but, you know, that's just what I do. Sorry. All right. Thanks for watching.